we met Tony over here, and he brought his '70 Mustang Mach 1 here. Tony, what can you tell us about this?
Well, the first thing about this car is we've had it about 10 years.
10 years.
And when we got it, the previous owner had done really no restoration. It was quite a mess.
It was a wreck, huh?
It was really a mess. So we did all the restoration ourselves at home, with the exception of the paint.
Okay.
I hired someone to do the final paint job, but otherwise, from top to bottom, I've done all the work myself.
I mean, the car shows beautiful. I mean, the paint is perfect on it. It looks like you got the original wheels, the original hood scoop. So, Tony, is this here the original style tack?
It is. Actually, the cars came with either a tack in the dash. If it didn't have it and someone wanted the tack, they could ask their dealer to put this tack on the car. So it's actually a Dixo tack that was manufactured by Dixo for Ford dealers to put on. So it's a factory aftermarket add-on.
So it's a True 351.
True 351 Cleveland.
Is it numbers matching?
It is not a numbers matching.
Okay.
It's the correct date-coded engine. Somewhere in its life, somebody blew the previous engine, I'm assuming. So there was another correct engine put in, but it's not the original engine to the car.
I mean, something like that there, to find one with the original style motor, most of the time they've been pillaged along the way.
Exactly.
So, I mean, it really doesn't affect the value of the car. I mean, these Mustangs, the value is great on them.
It is. As far as what's been done to the engine has all the correct features for the car, so unless you knew it wasn't the original engine, you wouldn't know.
So, Tony, I mean, the interior here is absolutely fantastic, completely restored. What have you, I mean, you've touched everything in here.
Everything. This car was completely gutted. There was no interior, nothing in it when we go through the restoration process. These are the original door panels. Most of the pieces we tried to maintain original, just restore the pieces back to showroom quality.
Okay. All right. Now, I think it was 70 that had what they call the rim blow horn.
It does. And it actually works.
It has the original. That is fantastic.
It is. That was one part that didn't have to be restored. The rim blow was actually working in the car.
Yep.
We did restore the wood grain in the steering wheel because it would wear out from people handling and driving it, but it works.
That is an outstanding feature to have in these here because it's so rare, and when you do find them, they're just, like you said, they're delaminated, they're falling apart, the horn doesn't work, the contacts are rotted. So, I mean, that is just an awesome feature to have in a restored car like that, the original style steering wheel. Very nice feature. So, I mean, the original replaced dash.
It's a replaced dash because the dash pads tended to crack just from the sun and the heat. So it is a correct replacement as far as the texture goes. The carpeting is new carpeting, but it's correct texture weave.
Right. It's probably an 80-20 loop.
It is actually an 80-20 loop. Same thing with the seats.
So you got it's automatic.
It is. It's an FMX automatic. In the transmission, it does have a shift kit. So even though it looks stock, it goes pretty good.
It's got a little bit of bite to it.
It is, especially because of some of the work done inside the engine.
Nice. Very nice. It's trimmed out really good. Door panels are beautiful. You did a great job inside.
Thank you.
All right. So, Tony, here we are at the back end here, and as the rest of the car is completely done, so is the trunk here. You got the original trunk spatter style mat, and you have the Space Saver as an option.
That is
correct.
Space Saver
tire.
And underneath the Space Saver tire is actually a bottle of air.
A bottle of air.
A bottle of air. It looks like a propane bottle, but it's actually full of air you use for blowing up that tire.
Really?
So I have an original bottle that's underneath there, full of air.
I mean, it's fantastic. And you have the option, it's a flip-down.
Fold-down rear seat.
Fold-down rear seat, so that opens right up into the back. I mean, the inside is detailed beautiful. You have the original style, the decals for the jacking and the spare tire, how to, install it and inflate and all that stuff there.
The overall theme with the car is to get it back to the way it looked as if it came off the factory assembly line with a few minor deviations from that.
Yeah, I mean, very good. I mean, it's the original style spoiler.
Correct.
It's probably not the original. Or is it?
I don't know.
Don't know.
I'm not sure about that. I know it's definitely an old spoiler.
An old spoiler.
I don't know if it's the original one.
Yeah. Very nice. I mean, the thing's been trimmed out. So what have you done anything particular here that's not factory?
Not in the back end. Most of the stuff that's non-factory is in the exhaust system.
Okay.
That's where the major deviation is, just for the performance to help the car breathe better.
Okay. Well, Tony, we got the rear deck lid closed here. Why don't you tell us a little about this louver setup?
The louvers were an option that came out in 1970 for Mach 1 Mustangs, and they were limited availability for 69 Mach 1 Mustangs. The previous owner of this car, the original owner of this car, actually ordered the louvers as well as the spoiler and the front spoiler, because we have documentation that shows that.
Really?
I know the louvers are original Ford louvers. The front and rear spoiler, we're not 100% sure about those.
I mean, they finish off nice. Classic look for the 70s Mustang, or this model Mustang itself with a rear spoiler, the decal, the trim set here, the Mach 1. I can't say enough about this car. It's fantastic. You did a fantastic job restoring it.
Thank you.
So I think what we'll do is take a look underneath the hood.
Perfect. That's where all the performance is.
All right. So, Tony, we got the lid popped open here. True 351, man. This thing is stuffed in this engine compartment.
Not much room at all.
Not much room at all. I mean, it's done nice. Once again, like the rest of the car, you really spent the time to do it right, and it's definitely been done right. I mean, what can you tell us about this setup?
Well, it's a 351 Cleveland.
Okay.
The idea was to make it look stock.
Okay.
So from the outside, for the exception of the headers, it looks stock.
So this is what we would call a sleeper.
Yes, but even though these cars did go well anyway, it's somewhat of a sleeper.
Okay.
But there's been some internal work done inside the engine and the heads and the chambers, as well as the intake and carburetor. But from the outside, it looks mostly stock.
All right. All right, so what's been done internal? You punch it out, you bore it out?
It's been slightly bored out, slightly stroked. What's also been done inside is the heads have been worked. These are original Cleveland 4V heads, which tend to not have good low-end performance, so some of the work was to improve the performance of the heads itself. It has an aftermarket manifold, but it's been dressed to look like the original stock one with no markings.
Okay.
And then the same thing with the carburetor. But of course, you can't see it all under the shaker air hood, which kind of hides most of that.
Right. I mean, the shaker style is such a unique look to these cars. When you had just a stock hood, there was still a nice looking car, but the shakers really add to it. I mean, nice performance look.
It does, and it actually is not just the look. It actually does add some performance.
Right, so it's fully functioning.
It's fully functioning. And on a cold morning, that cold air rushes right into the shaker, into the engine, and on a cool morning, you can actually see and feel the performance difference.
Really?
It does.
So on a toasty day like today,
the engine, it doesn't take all the heat from the engine bay. That's one good thing. Yep. But you don't see as much performance improvement. A cool morning, you notice it.
Yeah, she wakes up.
Exactly.
She wakes up. I see you have the AC, original style AC?
It's actually original factory AC car.
Really?
This car came with a number of options originally from the factory. Power brakes, power steering, and factory AC, which was a rarity back then.
Wow. Tony, what have you done? I mean, you mentioned that you have some work done to the exhaust. You have headers on this?
It does. It has headers, and it also has Flowmaster exhaust system all the way to the back. Larger pipes than what came stock. It looks somewhat original, but if someone really gets underneath there, they can tell. And the main advantage is it helps the car breathe. So you can really tell at the high RPMs, it's breathing much better. The theme was from top to bottom, have original factory paint markings, as well as the undercarriage on the top. So if someone looks at it, they think it just rolled off the Ford assembly line.
Actually, it looks better than the assembly line.
Actually, yes, it does.
It does. So, well, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
It's been a pleasure, and can't wait to see you cruising around with it.
Definitely, thank you. All right, thanks.
We're here with Mike again. We actually got his GTO here. Mike is not only company, president.
No, I'm not company president.
Okay.
One of the founders. We call me one of the founders.
Mike is one of the founders of 1A Auto, but he's not only a founder, but he's a racer. He picked up this GTO here, and he's going to tell us all about it. Mike, what's going on here?
This is my 66 GTO race car. Was thinking about building. If anybody follows Pontiacs, they might have heard of the name of the Tin Indian. My father actually owns the original Tin Indian race car. Car won 27 championships in a year in 1966. That car's all done up. It's a museum piece. Don't want to take it down the track.
Right, we've seen that thing. It's beautiful.
Yep.
He tours it around the country showing that piece.
Yep. So the thought was to build a clone of that car as it was raced, and race it. The gentleman, Arlen Vanke, who built the car originally, wants to build the motor for me, which I'm very excited about. And I was out on a quest to find a car to build. Was having a pretty tough time of it. Then I came across this on racingjunk.com. Fit the bill perfectly. Got a nice race car for a fraction of what I would have paid to build it. It's a board 455, 472. It's got aluminum Edelbrock heads, Isky roller cam, puts out about 500 horsepower. Got the New England dragway. Ran a best of 1053 at 126 miles an hour. Great ride. Pulls the front wheels for the first 30 feet and then just keeps going.
Very nice.
Yep.
I mean, to pull the wheels off the ground on something this large is definitely impressive, but when you see the size of the tires on the back, you understand it's got some type of power for these things to go, you know?
Yeah, it's probably pulling close to 500 foot-pounds of torque.
Nice. So Mike, is it impressive under the hood?
It's all right.
It's all right? Let's take a look. Well, Mike, what do we got going on here?
What we got going on is a nicely built Pontiac motor. I'm a Pontiac guy, true Pontiac. You know, I respect the corporate and things like that. I respect anybody that builds something and runs it down the track that fast, or runs it around the track that fast. But been crawling around GTO since I was 6 years old. So 455, bored out 472, Edelbrock aluminum heads, polycarb, custom-made intake manifold. The gentleman who built that, so, you know, kind of made fun of it to the guy I bought it from a little bit, but then he just looked at me and said, "It works."
It works.
Said, okay.
That's all that matters.
It works.
If it works.
You can see the car was built some time ago. It needs some updating, but that's the nice thing about it. I can put some of my own touches into it over the next couple of years, and then when Arlen Venke's ready to build me a motor, you know, we'll stuff a 540 in there, all aluminum, and get this going into the 9s.
Well, this thing is like totally bare bones. I mean, you have the motor. I mean, motor plates. So the motor plates are now your motor mounts. Totally stripped. You get electric motor for your water pump.
Yep.
No electric fan. No inner wheel well. So huge savings. You know, weight savings here going on. So it helps lighten up the front end. Obviously, to dangle those front wheels in the first 30 feet.
Yep.
So very, very nice.
Thank you.